Good morning, America. Today we're diving into a topic that affects millions of lives, yet often feels distant until it hits home: the government shutdown. Whether you're a federal worker, a business owner, or just someone trying to renew a passport, a shutdown can have ripple effects that touch us all. So, what exactly is a government shutdown? It's not just a headline or a political talking point, it's a real event with real consequences. When you see those breaking news alerts, it means the federal government is about to hit pause on many of its daily operations, leaving millions of Americans uncertain about what comes next. Here's how it works. In the United States, Congress is responsible for passing a series of funding bills each year. These bills allocate money to keep government agencies and programs running smoothly. If Congress can't agree on the details, how much to spend and on what, then the funding simply runs out. When the deadline passes without a deal, the government's authority to spend money expires. This isn't just a technicality. It means that many federal offices and services must close their doors, sometimes overnight. The impact is immediate and widespread. National parks and museums close, passport and visa applications are delayed, and scientific research grinds to a halt. Everyday Americans find themselves locked out of services they rely on, from small business loans to housing assistance. But not everyone gets to stop working. Essential employees, like those in national security, air traffic control, and public safety, are required to stay on the job, often without pay. For hundreds of thousands of families, this means working through uncertainty, missing paychecks, and worrying about how to cover basic expenses. Why does this happen? At its core, a government shutdown is the result of deep political disagreements. Lawmakers use funding deadlines as leverage, hoping to push through their priorities or block those of the opposing party. The result is a high-stakes standoff, with ordinary Americans caught in the middle. The consequences go far beyond politics. When the government shuts down, it disrupts daily life, erodes trust in our institutions, and leaves people feeling powerless. For many, it's a time of anxiety and frustration, as they wait for leaders to find common ground. The uncertainty doesn't just stay in Washington. It ripples through the economy, shaking confidence on Wall Street, worrying business owners, and even drawing attention from around the world. Our communities feel the strain, and families are left wondering when stability will return. That's why, when there's news of a possible end to the shutdown, it brings a wave of relief and hope. It's a reminder that, even in times of division, solutions are possible, and that the work of government, at its best, is to serve the people. This wasn't just any shutdown, it was the longest in U.S. history, lasting 40 days. The standoff began in early October, rooted in a bitter budget battle and partisan gridlock. As weeks dragged on, frustration turned to hardship for federal workers and the public. Missing paychecks and stalled services became the new normal. Finally, after intense negotiations and mounting public pressure, a bipartisan group of senators announced a deal. It's a temporary fix, but for a nation on edge, it's the first real sign of hope. The country is ready to move forward. At the heart of the government shutdown are over 800,000 federal employees, our neighbors, friends, and family members. These are the people who keep our parks open, process our taxes, ensure our safety, and support vital services across the country. When the government closes its doors, their lives are thrown into chaos, and the ripple effects are felt in every community. Many were suddenly furloughed or forced to work without pay, plunging them into immediate financial crisis. With paychecks halted, families scrambled to cover rent, mortgages, and basic necessities. The uncertainty was suffocating, and the fear of missing another paycheck loomed large. Stories poured in from across the nation. Workers visiting food banks for the first time, taking out emergency loans, and reaching out to charities for help. Some had to explain to their children why they couldn't afford groceries or school supplies. Many picked up side jobs just to survive, driving for rideshare companies late into the night, stocking shelves at local stores, or delivering food orders. Others offered tutoring or odd jobs, doing whatever it took to keep their families afloat. The stress was overwhelming, both financially and emotionally. Marriages were strained, parents lost sleep, and the anxiety of not knowing when relief would come weighed heavily on everyone affected. The New Deal finally guarantees back pay for all affected workers, offering a crucial lifeline to those who have gone weeks without income. For many, this means catching up on overdue bills and finally breathing a sigh of relief. It also includes job protections for the rest of the fiscal year, ensuring that these workers can return to their roles without fear of immediate layoffs or further disruption. While back pay helps, the emotional and financial scars remain. Many workers are still recovering from the stress and uncertainty, and some may never fully regain their sense of security. For weeks, these dedicated public servants were used as political pawns, caught in the crossfire of a debate far beyond their control. Their livelihoods were put on hold, and their voices often went unheard. Now, at last, they can finally return to their jobs and regain some sense of stability. The halls of government are once again filled with the people who make our country run. Their resilience, dedication, and strength in the face of adversity deserve our deepest respect and gratitude. As they move forward, let's remember the sacrifices they made and the vital role they play in our nation's everyday life. The shutdown's impact rippled far beyond federal workers. Air travel was thrown into chaos. Thousands of flights canceled, long security lines, and frustrated travelers. Major airlines cut schedules, and families struggled to reunite for the holidays. The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, faced funding threats, creating panic for millions relying on food aid. National parks closed, small business loans stalled, and scientific research paused. Farmers faced delays in aid payments. The shutdown's reach was felt in airports, grocery stores, and communities nationwide. It was a stark reminder of how deeply government services touch our daily lives. The 40-day shutdown delivered a real blow to the U.S. economy. It wasn't just a temporary inconvenience, it had far-reaching consequences that rippled through various sectors. With federal workers and contractors unpaid, consumer spending dropped, slowing growth. Families struggled to make ends meet, and the lines at food banks grew longer by the day. The Congressional Budget Office warned the shutdown could cut GDP by up to 1.5 percentage points. This wasn't just a theoretical concern. It was a stark reality that economists had to grapple with. Consumer confidence fell, and layoffs surged to a 22-year high, hitting both public and private sectors. The stock market took a hit, and the ripple effects were felt across the nation. The shutdown created a cloud of uncertainty, making businesses hesitant to invest or hire. Small business owners, in particular, felt the pinch as they struggled to keep their doors open. Economic progress stalled, and the damage was felt nationwide. From bustling cities to quiet small towns, the impact was undeniable. Reopening the government isn't just about restoring services, it's about stopping further economic harm. The return to normalcy was a relief, but the road to recovery was just beginning. The sooner stability returns, the faster recovery can begin. Businesses can start planning for the future again, and workers can return to their jobs with a sense of security. The shutdown's cost will linger, but reopening is a critical first step. It's a chance to rebuild and to learn from the past, to prevent future disruptions. America's economic foundation depends on it. The resilience of the American spirit will be key to overcoming these challenges and moving forward stronger than before. After weeks of gridlock, hope arrived with a bipartisan Senate deal. 8 moderate Democrats and Republican leaders negotiated a stopgap funding bill to reopen the government. The bill funds operations through January 30, 2026, giving lawmakers time for a long-term solution. It guarantees back pay for federal workers and restores full SNAP funding for vulnerable families. While a formal extension of healthcare subsidies isn't included, Senate leaders promised a vote on the issue soon. The deal faces further votes in Congress, with some opposition remaining. Still, it's the first real compromise in 40 days, offering a path out of crisis. The nation is watching for swift action. News of the deal sent financial markets soaring. Investors crave stability, and the shutdown had created economic uncertainty. The deal signaled lawmakers could compromise, restoring confidence in the U.S. system. Stock markets rallied in the U.S. and abroad, reflecting optimism that the economy could recover. The shutdown's end removed a major risk, calming fears of deeper economic trouble. With federal workers getting paid and services restored, consumer spending is expected to rebound. Businesses can resume normal operations. The market's reaction was a clear vote of confidence in America's recovery. Predictability returned, and that's priceless for investors. The end of the shutdown is a win for the economy. The shutdown also froze the release of crucial economic data. Agencies like the Bureau of Labor Statistics and Census Bureau were closed, leaving the Federal Reserve without key information. The Fed relies on this data to set interest rates, affecting everything from mortgages to business loans. With the government reopening, delayed reports will finally be released. This data is essential for the Fed's December decision on interest rates. The shutdown's impact on inflation and jobs will shape that call. The Fed's next move will affect markets and Americans' wallets. Reliable data is vital, and it's only possible when government is open. As of November 10, 2025, cautious optimism is in the air. The bipartisan deal offers relief for workers, travelers, and families. The economy has a chance to recover from a self-inflicted crisis. The temporary funding buys lawmakers time to negotiate a full-year budget. The deal still needs final approval, but the nation is hopeful for lasting stability. Americans want leaders to learn from this and avoid future shutdowns. Ultimately, it's about restoring normalcy and faith in government. For now, the country breathes a collective sigh of relief, ready to move forward.